Alright, we're ready to do our cold side piping now. Again, I'm Alec of Remnant Performance. So how we get that ready to do? Okay, so we gotta look and say, okay, if you have upgraded radiator, you're gonna have to do some trimming. If not, you don't have to, but hey, if you already have it out, you might as well go ahead and do the trimming. So, if you look at, here's the fan shroud. We've already done the trimming on this, pre-trimmed it. We used our oscillating tool. You can see here, this is how it fits like this. This is the top of the car here, this is the bottom. So we just basically remove our harnesses out of the way, and you can see everything here is trimmed all the way down to the bottom. Right here, it's trimmed out completely on the side here. Everything is gone there. There was the major areas you really need to fix if you want to put your intercooler piping in place. Right. So one thing you could actually do to make it even easier is right down here. Sometimes it gets a little bit tough. You can see we've actually trimmed down all of that portion here. Trimmed down all that portion. I'm going to go ahead and right now on video trim out this section here as well too, right? So we'll do that and make it easy. So it'll get a little loud, but don't bear with us. Simple. There you go. Now we will guarantee to not have any issues here with any of the intercooler piping. Simple. Alright, so now next Moody will go ahead and show you guys how to actually get the intercooler mounted up and ready to go on the crash bar.
So right now we are just putting back the radiator fan shroud, and it's pretty simple, guys. You have two fan shroud bolts right here. There's one mount and there's another mount, and then down here, if you look where my hand is, down here right at the bottom, there's a little tab that literally just slides down, and there's the opposite one on the other side. This radiator with a coolant reservoir slides in. It's got a little tab right here that slides into this mount, and it bolts up here. So just bring your hand down, figure out where the tab is, line it up with the mount, it'll just click in, and then you use two screws here.
10 millimeters.
10 millimeters for everything. 10 millimeters the way for Hyundai.
The way for Hyundai, I like that.
Yep. So 10 millimeters here, 10 millimeters here. And I know it looks like a really tight fit, but you can basically squeeze that coolant hose out of the way, and just finagle it until you get it in there.
And that's the fan shroud.
Yep. So here's the next hard part. The intercooler is going to get mounted via these bolts or these brackets that we provide. One bolt goes on the side, and then the other side of it bolts up to the crash bar. And if you look, there's a little slit here for you to be able to put two self-tapping screws. What you're going to do is you're going to take the intercooler, you're going to measure from here to here, from the weld to the weld. You're going to find the center point, and you're going to take some of the electrical tape that we provide you with, and you're going to put it down here. If you look at your crash bar, there's a little lip down here right now. You can see where my finger is. There's a little lip. This lip is the center mark of your radiator support. So you're going to line up the tape with that little lip. And what you're going to do after that, is take zip ties, right? Some of the zip ties that we provided you. You're going to take two of the long ones, and you're going to zip tie the bracket to the crash bar. You're going to do it on both sides, and you're going to tighten it as much as you can so that the zip ties are holding up the crash bar for you, so you don't have to hold it up while you're drilling it. So you're going to make sure again that everything is lined up. Your end tank the welds on your end tank are actually almost perfectly lined up with the seams on this crash bar. So if you can see right here, this is lined up, and on the other side it's also lined up. And right now, the tape is also lined up with the center mark. So these are your alignment points for the crash bar, okay? You're going to take some self-tapping screws that we're providing you with, and you're basically just going to go at an angle and at an angle. And when you're putting them in, the same method applies for when you're doing them for the washer fluid reservoir and for the horn relocation and oil cooler. You're going to start them in, and as soon as they start to bite after they've drilled through and they're starting to go up in, you're going to get some red Loctite that we're providing you with. You're going to dab it on the threads, and you're going to tighten it up in there. You're not going to spin it after it's tight, because that'll eat the threads in the crash bar, and then you basically won't have anything holding on. So you're going to tighten it up with the red Loctite until it reaches the maximum point. Same thing with this one, and same thing with these two. That red Loctite should help it seal into the crash bar, and all four of those self-tapping screws should hold this up. The next thing that you're going to know is, or the next thing we're going to tell you is, if you have to remove the intercooler, do not remove these self-tapping screws. Remove the two bolts for the brackets. The intercooler will just drop down. The piping will also hold the intercooler perfectly fine, and it'll stop it from moving around like this, because even though these are brackets that are holding everything up, they don't have that much leverage on it. So the piping is actually what's going to stop it from swaying, and these bolts are going to support most of the weight. If you come down here with me, once you've done the alignment, you're going to want to make sure that the intercooler itself is about a pinky's width away from your power steering lines. I'll move away so you can see it. Here's your power steering cooler. You're going to want this to be about a pinky width away right now when the intercooler is just sitting there. That way you're not pinching anything and it's not going to hit anything, and it's not sticking out too much so that it doesn't hit the front bumper. That's how you mount the intercooler. Now, I would honestly recommend you just leave these zip ties, because more is better, and we all know that race cars are made out of zip ties. So just clip, 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 clip. Use the 4 self-tapping screws, and your intercooler will never come off unwillingly unless you get into an accident, which let's hope you don't. One more thing, which is kind of a pro tip, but not really. These silicone couplings, they won't want to go on the intercooler side because they're so snug. They're such a perfect fit. So what you're going to end up having to do is, once the intercooler is mounted, once you get to mounting the rest of the piping, you're going to put these on the intercooler, and you're going to tighten these clamps first. Okay? You're going to tighten them so that they're not sticking out, basically kind of like this.
Yeah. And basically the best thing to do, if you can get it, is actually to turn, if you pull those back off,
Yep.
and we can turn that one on the inside.
Yeah, even better. Look at that. That way it's not sticking out.
And you basically kind of tighten it up like that.
Yep.
And then that way it's out of the way.
Yep. So you're going to keep these couplings on the intercooler, and if you have to remove the piping, you're going to take the piping off this coupling. The coupling stays on the intercooler from both sides. All right? Now let's get to actually putting the rest of the piping on.
All right. So next up is this piece. This goes on your passenger side, right? So that goes right into this intercooler piece here.
Of course, we're not going to bolt it up just yet. This is just for demonstration purposes. There we go.
All right. And that piece goes, the bar itself, the pipe itself, goes right underneath the radiator hose.
Just like that.
Just like that. Okay? And then of course you use your T-bolt clamp to hold it in place. Then on the driver's side, we have the driver's side intercooler pipe. This is the driver's side intercooler pipe. So what you're going to do is just go straight in there from the bottom, and you turn it that way like this, and go straight in like that. Just like how it was said. And you can go straight in like that. And again, helps to have a friend to help pull it up from the spot.
Oh, so it's a straight up fit.
Yep, absolutely straight.
No rotation or anything.
Don't need to rotate it like you had to do the downpipe or anything like that. So Makes it easy. Then you just have to work the couplers in, and your pipe is up and in the way. And so right here you can actually have some space, and this will actually help you when you go to fit up the rest of the piping. Now up above here we have that, but before we do that we're going to go ahead and hook up the pipe for the turbo to intercooler, yeah. So you definitely want to go from the bottom. It makes it easy. We have some lines here. You just want to kind of finagle them, move it out of the way. Definitely, again, helps to have a friendly hand up on top, and you want to kind of get that so it is right in between. I just realized I probably want to trim the fan housing just a smidge more. That's an easy one. Yeah, that's a really easy one.
Easy area.
You can actually hit it there. So we saw, this is cool because it's something that you guys might figure out here when you guys are working on this thing as well too. Is like, hey, you know, with the upgraded radiator, it really pushes the fan shroud out a significant portion. So you just need to tweak it a little bit.
Yep.
Just the fan shroud is all you need to tweak. Oscillating tool, make quick work of it. Yep. So let's go ahead and make that necessary cut, and we'll show you what that looks like. So we're going to go ahead and show you guys what we did here. Just basically trim this little piece here back. That just allows you to make it a little bit easier when you're coming and bringing this pipe in. Again, if you do not have an upgraded radiator, you don't have to worry about this. This is really easy. This will never get in the way because the radiator is literally like 1.5 inches less here. So it's like all for thin. Yeah, it's paper thin. Again, we used it unless your region is hotter than North Carolina. You're not going to have to upgrade your radiator. But we went ahead and did it here for the built engine just because.
Just because, why not?
Yeah, why not? Since we're in there now. So you have to do the upgrading or trimming of the fan shroud and stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and show you how this pipe works, right? So basically what you want to do is get your coupler onto your turbo like this. Get it all as far back as you can. And if you want to, you go ahead and kind of show that there.
Pull the pipe off.
Pull the pipe off.
As much as it doesn't want to.
Yeah. And it goes back out. So pretty simple. And it connects down there where we had already put the pipe in. Alright, so really simple. You just kind of take it, go up with it, up. And it fits right there. And again, always good to have a helping hand. And you can pull it right into the turbo. And you kind of twist it.
Kind of twist it and organize it a little bit.
Organize it. Get it right.
And that's it.
That's it. Real simple. So now you've connected turbo down to the intercooler back up into the car. Now, let's talk about this. This was version 1 of the piping setup here for the BK2s. Right, where this piece here would hook up to the engine block. Your
impact sensor.
You take it and you basically, there's that guy roll, it's right here, and you turn it from being on the block like this, turn it upside down here, and you attach it to this part. All right, this part just quickly fits in right here. And you just basically hook up this pipe to that coupler, and that right there is a block. So real simple. There it fits right there. Boom. We actually have screws for that, so we're just not showing you right now. Now, as you can see, we have an issue here with the 76. The 70 millimeter is shorter on the compressor housing, so you never run into the issue with the blow-off valve kind of being too close to the compressor housing. So when we went to go design for the BK1, what we thought about is, okay, we originally designed this kit so that this portion right here could be replaced to be able to accept a MAF sensor. right? So that the BK1 could be done. But when we saw that the 76 millimeter, which we wanted to add to the kit, became too tall here and started getting into the issues here with the blow-off valve, we said, okay, let's redesign both the BK1 and BK2. So what you guys are going to receive is version 2 of the piping. The design's already done, 3D models have already been completed, we're in the process of fabricating them. So you don't need to worry about that, but I'll just explain how it works. Basically, this portion here, up to here, is all gone. All this is gone. If this pipe is extended, and extended with a 90 degree, right? That is in line with the entrance into the throttle body, into this 90 degree here. So this 90 degree comes back on the BK2s. There is right here this mount for the IAT sensor. That is right about here. And then the blow-off valve sits right about here on this 90 degree pipe, and it comes out here. It has plenty of room and plenty of clearance here, so you're never going to have an issue. And it goes away the opposite way. Now this is great because with it being the blow-off valve being out of the picture and everything being just this 90 degree, one, you get a nice clean and awesome intercooler pipe there with your aluminum, and the cool thing is that this is out of the way so you can actually see the turbo better. So it's nice, win-win. Cuts down on the amount of clamps and the amount of possible failure points, and that's how it works. Now for the BK1s, how this works is we actually have a couple of different couplers, right? So
A couple of couplers. I like that.
couple of couplers. That is that really early in the morning / late in the night, however you want to call it.
We do things crazy here at Remnant and Alpha Speed. You know, that's how it works, right?
That's how it works. That's how it works. So that pipe that I just described is actually a little bit shorter on the BK1s. And what that does is, on the BK1, is we actually go ahead and remove this section. Alright, perfect. So on the BK1s, we have a 90 degree coupler right there, and that 90 degrees pipe that I just mentioned comes into here. The only thing on the BK1s is the blow-off valve here. And then you have your MAF, trusty MAF here, where you connect that, and then you have obviously your connection into your throttle body. So very, very simple design, and as you can see, nothing here again, once again, so you can see the turbo. Real nice and open. And again, we don't have to worry about, this actually was the original oil feed line connection there. 4AN connection, as you can see, the blow-off valve is rubbing up against that, and that was causing a loss of pace. So that's why we redesigned the whole portion right here of the intercooler piping. Right, so just to make it a lot simpler, make it look nicer, and also to make sure that there's no failure points, whichever turbo you end up using.
Sounds good. And at this point, you're basically bolted up. The only thing that's left is putting your turbo blanket on, which you can put your blanket on right before you go to sleep, and then priming the turbo with the oil feed line. So this oil feed line goes in right here, and you're going to snake it down into your oil filter housing right around there, which we did a little earlier. So after that,
we'll pull the oil feed line up, and then you guys are ready to
prime the turbo.
Prime it.
Yeah.
And then after you prime it,
it's boost time.
It's boost time.
It's boost season, boost time. It's time to get tuned, basically.
Indeed.
Look at that.
Yeah, this whole installation should take you less than 10 hours or so.
Give or take. I mean, our video, so as of right now, we've spent about 4.5 hours of videotaping. And that's with explaining things to you, figuring things out as we go, and making many trips to the store so that you don't have to in the end. There's a couple of things that we left out just because we already had them done, like the intercooler bolting up, the oil pan. However, some of those things, if you're relatively adept and you know someone that's worked on cars before, the oil pan should take you about 20-25 minutes. The intercooler, once you've zip tied it, 5 minutes to bolt those 4 bolts up. You know, the washer fluid reservoir, a couple of minutes, all that kind of stuff. So It's all relatively simple stuff that we've left out. But regardless, if you have a friend here, remember what we said, octopus hands help a lot. So if you have a friend to help you out, it's going to take significantly less time.
Yeah. So I guess the one last piece here before the vacuum line, you run the vacuum lines. Actually, you can go ahead and feed the turbo. Make sure that the turbo feed is properly done first, and then you can run the vacuum lines, which will be the very last thing that you do before you turbo. Go boosting. Is you make sure that this here, your intake pipe, is connected to this. It's a 3-inch to a 4-inch 90-degree. There's only one of those in the kit, so very easy to find. You just snake it down here into the hole that we created when we removed the washer reservoir. And this is down here, so we can kind of move that out of the way. And this is very, it's a tight but easy fit. Boom. You want your T-bolt clamp to be kind of up here. It allows you to quickly from the side, since obviously everything's out, your headlight's out, quickly center side, go ahead and tighten that down. Then you have your 3-inch T-bolt that kind of comes up. And I actually recommend, since again you're working on it,
to have it facing
kind of like this. That way you're not going to run into the headlight, any issues there. And again, it's something easy for you to do when the headlight's out.
Yep.
Get that in. And then we have our S&B air filter. This thing is awesome. We calculated it. It has both the feed coming in here and also the surface area on the side. It's going to allow you to get plenty of air to your turbo. This just fits right there on top of that. And of course, you just take the clamp that comes with it, the worm gear clamp, and you just tighten it down. Real simple. And again, you're gonna finagle it down a little bit so that you can get this basically facing completely down. That way, if you have fog lights, you're not going to have an issue. If you stick it out to the side, you will have an issue. So that's why you want to have it completely down and even possibly tucked in a little bit to the body like that. And that's all just done with how you position the pipe inside the coupler.
Yep.
So that's it.
All right.
That's all the cold side piping.
Yep. Your cold side is on, except for that piece right now, for demonstration purposes. But your cold side's on. At this point, the intercooler is all bolted up. The turbo's bolted up. The hot side piping is right there for everyone to see, all wrapped and nice. Your harness is tucked away. Your fuse box is tucked away. And speaking of the fuse box, really quick, a lot of people are going to be like, wait, how do we open the fuse box? Watch this. Ta-da! So, play with the cowl. It's pretty flexible. Done.
All right. Simple. Thanks, everybody. Next video, we will talk about actually doing the feed.
Yep.
And doing the vacuum line.
Yeah.
All right.
It's coming together, man.
Happy boosting.
Do this. Happy boosting indeed.